Queen Claire stood on the observation deck of the command station and watched the distant stars. Blinking one after another, signals came from colonies far across. Human space, some of them were regular reports, but others carried warnings. The messages were urgent and alarming. Humans in the outer reaches had detected massive ships moving through space, and the ships were heading toward human colonies. Claire felt a chill run through her body. Even though she had faced many crises before, this one felt different. Commander Luke moved quickly through the control room, his hands brushing over the consoles as he checked the incoming reports. Scouts had sent images of enormous warships, each one built for survival and combat trained. Human men piloted these ships, and their movements were precise and confident. Luke felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He needed to understand the threat before it reached the colonies. He turned to Rachel, who was sitting at the navigation station, her eyes sharp and focused. She nodded and quickly prepared the scout shuttle for departure. Rachel guided the shuttle out of the station and into the black void of space. The stars stretched endlessly around them. She moved carefully, weaving through asteroid fields, where the first warnings had come from. Debris from dead planets floated silently in the dark, and sensors lit up showing dozens of massive ships, each one prepared for war. The Deathworlders were human men trained on harsh planets, where survival required strength and skill. They had become experts in combat and strategy, and now they were moving together across the Expanse. Queen Claire convened an emergency meeting with her council. She sat at the head of the long table, listening to each member speak. They debated about sending reinforcements, about hiding civilians, and about protecting resources, but Claire silenced them with a simple gesture. Her voice calm and firm. Humans had survived worse than this. She said humans had survived storms on harsh planets. Humans had survived hunger and battles. Humans had courage, and she would not allow fear to rule the decisions of the council. Meanwhile, Luke and Rachel approached the fleet closely. Their sensors picked up unusual energy readings from the ships. The weapon systems were advanced, and the fleet moved as if the galaxy belonged to them. Rachel studied the formation and spoke clearly. "We need to warn the colonies." Luke sent detailed reports back to the command station, describing the size of the fleet, the weapons it carried, and the speed at which it moved. Every word counted. Every second was important. Back on the station, Claire ordered all ships to prepare for defense. The human fleet included railgun cruisers, fast attack ships, and transport vessels. She coordinated engineers and pilots, assigning every person a role. Every command clear and simple. She knew that when the fleet arrived, humans needed to act as one. She sent messages to every nearby colony, instructing them to prepare civilians for evacuation and to strengthen defenses in orbit above the outer colonies. Human transports moved to safe zones. Rachel guided them through asteroid fields, protecting them from potential attacks. Luke monitored enemy movements, calculating positions and predicting their strategy. The tension was heavy. Every human aboard felt it. Humans had trained for this, but no training could prepare them for seeing a massive fleet moving through the stars with purpose and skill. Queen Claire broadcast messages to every colony. She spoke directly to the people, assuring them humans had survived extreme conditions. Humans had survived wars, and humans had survived Deathworlds. She reminded them of their strength and courage, and gave simple instructions on how to act. Humans listened and prepared. They moved with determination and careful planning. They trusted Claire because she had always guided them. Wisely, the fleet drew closer, and its presence became visible through telescopes. Glimmers turned into shapes, massive ships casting shadows over planets. The outer worlds braced themselves for what was coming. Rachel and Luke returned with the first clear images of the fleet. Humans stared at the screens, every detail showing size and movement, every image adding weight to the reality of the threat. Claire studied the images and thought of the human men and women who had faced the fleet. She thought of the children and the families on the colonies. She felt fear but did not show it. She needed to lead humans, needed her strength. She ordered fleet commanders to form defensive lines near the colonies. She deployed fast strike teams ready to move through asteroid belts and attack enemy ships at key points. She planned every step, knowing that human strategy and courage could make the difference in the stations. Corridors, engineers checked railguns and shield generators. Pilots ran through simulations. Medics prepared for the injured. The station was alive with activity and determination. Humans knew the stakes. Humans did not have the numbers or the advantage of surprise, but they had skill and courage. They had the willingness to fight for survival. They had the leadership of Queen Claire and the precision of Luke and Rachel. Queen Claire watched Luke and Rachel as they boarded their scout ships again. She felt hope seeing the determination in their eyes. She knew that humans could stand against any threat if they worked together. She sent a final message across the fleet. "Remember, we are," she thought. "Humans are strong. Humans survive humans. Do not give in to fear." Throughout the colonies, children slept while their parents worked quietly, checking supplies. In preparing shelters, adults trained and drilled quietly, knowing that soon every skill they had learned would be tested. Humans were ready to defend their homes. They had no choice. They would fight and protect the colonies with everything they had. The galaxy would see what humans were capable of. As the stars glowed beyond the station, the approaching fleet moved steadily. The void seemed silent and waiting, but humans did not wait. They acted. They prepared, they strengthened every defense, and studied every possible strategy. Rachel and Luke reported every movement, every change in formation, back to Claire. The command station became a hive of activity focused on one goal: to survive and protect humanity. Queen Claire imagined the battles to come. She imagined humans fighting with courage and strategy. She imagined children watching the stories later and feeling proud. She imagined every colony standing united and strong. She imagined the galaxy, learning that humans were not weak. Humans could not be dismissed. Humans could survive even in the harshest conditions. Humans could fight against the largest threats and win. The night passed across colonies and stations. Humans did not rest. Engineers repaired ships, pilots trained in simulations. Medics prepared hospitals, and families gathered what little they could to survive the coming attacks. The stars above were silent witnesses to the preparations. Humans moved with determination and skill. They were ready to face the Deathworlders' fleet. They were ready to defend every world they had settled. Queen Claire finally took a moment to stand alone on the observation deck. She looked out at the stars and breathed deeply. "Humans were ready," she whispered. "Humans are strong. Humans are brave. Humans will survive. The fleet would arrive soon, and humans would meet it not with fear, but with courage, determination, and intelligence. The galaxy would remember the name of humanity and the leadership of Queen Claire and the courage of Luke and Rachel." Luke and Rachel moved closer to the approaching fleet, their scout ships weaving through the asteroid field. Rachel's hands gripped the controls tightly while Luke monitored the energy signatures coming from the massive warships. The fleet was larger than they had imagined, each ship bristling with weapons and shields. Humans had never faced such numbers before, but they stayed focused. They had a mission to observe and report every detail back to Queen Claire. The first few ships passed silently by the scouts, moving with precision and discipline. Trained human men piloted the fleet, each one experienced in survival and combat. They had been raised on harsh planets where every day was a test of strength and skill. These captains and crews moved as one. A single mistake could destroy a ship or an entire fleet. The scouts stayed hidden, observing their movements, studying formations and weapons systems. Luke adjusted the sensors to record the fleet's communications. The human men of the Deathworlder ships spoke in concise orders and commands. Every word precise and controlled. They were efficient and confident. They believed their mission was simple: dominate the outer colonies and force humanity to surrender. Rachel sent encrypted messages back to the command station detailing every ship size, every weapon, and every crew assignment they could detect. Back on the command station, Queen Claire studied the incoming reports. She traced the paths of the massive warships across the Expanse. Her mind worked, quickly assessing weaknesses in the fleet and calculating how humans could defend the colonies. She called fleet commanders to a strategy meeting. Each commander listened closely. Claire gave simple and clear orders. She focused on human strengths: speed, precision, and ingenuity. Humans could not match the size of the enemy fleet, but they could strike smart and strong. In orbit above one of the outer colonies, small alarms began to ring, warning of incoming contacts. Scouts detected small attack ships breaking off from the main fleet. Luke and Rachel moved toward the contacts. The ships were fast and armed with energy cannons. Humans had practiced for this. They launched defensive drones and automated turrets, activating the colony shields. The first shots rang out through space-bright flashes against the black background. The scouts maneuvered expertly, keeping civilians safe while observing enemy tactics. Rachel called to Luke, "We can take them if we stay coordinated." He nodded, setting a course through the debris fields. They fired railgun pulses and plasma bursts, aiming at the enemy ships. Every strike precise, targeting weak points. They observed how the enemy reacted, adjusting movements and formations. Humans learned quickly. Each strike gave new knowledge to share with Queen Claire. The scouts reported every action back to the command station, allowing fleet commanders to prepare a full defense. The outer colonies watched the small battle unfold. Humans on the ground worked quickly to follow the instructions given by the council, evacuating civilians and securing vital equipment. Every person had a role. Engineers repaired power systems, while medics stood ready to help anyone injured. The colony became a hive of activity. Human determination and courage were visible in every movement. They acted without fear because they trusted their leadership and training. Queen Claire issued a broadcast across the colonies telling humans to hold strong and follow orders. Every word was meant to inspire humans to trust their skills and courage. She reminded them that humans had survived the harshest worlds and toughest conditions. She reminded them that humans had survived storms, famine, and battles. Humans had always found a way, and they would do it again. The words spread across the expanse and gave strength to every colony. Luke and Rachel returned to the command station after the first skirmish. They reported detailed movements of the enemy fleet, showing patterns and vulnerabilities. The council studied the reports, quickly plotting attack points. In defense lines, Queen Claire ordered fast strike teams to move through asteroid belts to intercept critical enemy ships. The teams were small but skilled, using railguns and plasma weapons to target engines and shields. The human crews trained for this moment now acted with precision and determination. The first full battle began as human fleets launched coordinated strikes on the fleet. The outer colonies watched from orbit as massive warships moved in precise formations. Humans had learned to exploit weak points from scout reports. Every railgun strike and plasma burst aimed to disable, not just destroy, capturing knowledge with every engagement. The humans focused on survival of civilians and effectiveness of attacks. Every crew member understood the importance of skill and timing. Rachel piloted fast attack ship, weaving through enemy fire, protecting civilian transports. The shields glowed under energy impacts. Luke adjusted targeting systems, guiding precise shots at vulnerable points. Engines and weapon arrays. Humans worked together. The command station coordinated every move with Queen Claire, giving orders that maximize strengths and minimize risk. Every strike was calculated, every movement deliberate. Humans learned from every encounter and adapted quickly. In the command station, Claire observed the flow of battle. She watched human pilots navigate through hazards, protecting civilians and targeting enemy weaknesses. She saw courage and intelligence at work. The fleet worked as one. Humans knew the stakes. They knew the colonies depended on them. Every action mattered. Every decision could change the course of the battle. She gave orders calmly and firmly. Humans responded with precision, confidence, and determination. As the battle progressed, humans began to push back the enemy fleet, exploiting weaknesses and gaps identified from scout reports. The Deathworlder captains moved to regroup, trying to form stronger formations. But humans were quick and adaptable. Small strike teams disabled key ships, causing confusion and slowing the enemy advance. Human railguns and plasma pulses struck with power and accuracy, forcing retreating ships back into defensive maneuvers. Civilians watched the events unfold from safe zones, their faith in human skill growing with every engagement. Queen Claire addressed the fleet, telling humans to stay focused and continue observing and striking intelligently. She reminded them humans were not weak. Humans were strong. Humans survived in the harshest conditions. Humans could fight and win. Humans had courage and skill. The fleet followed orders, moving as one, striking efficiently and protecting civilians. Every human crew member knew they were part of something greater, something that would be remembered across colonies for generations. After hours of battle, the enemy fleet withdrew. Temporarily, human fleets had learned critical tactics and weaknesses from the first encounter. Luke and Rachel returned to the command station. their sensors full of data every movement. Information recorded every energy discharge measured. The council studied the results, adjusting future strategies. Humans prepared for the next engagement with confidence and knowledge. They learned how to fight and how to survive. Queen Claire looked out over the stars. She thought of the human men and women facing the fleet, the pilots and crews, the children and families on distant colonies. She felt pride in their courage and skill. She knew humans would continue to adapt and fight. Humans would not surrender. Humans would survive and protect every world they had settled. The first encounter had shown the power of human intelligence, courage, and coordination, and it was only the beginning. The human fleet moved steadily through the expanse, every ship in formation, every crew member alert and ready. Queen Claire watched from the command station, her eyes fixed on the screens, showing the enemy movements. She knew the battle was far from over. The first encounter had given humans knowledge, but the fleet was still massive, and every decision now mattered. Luke and Rachel led a squadron of fast strike ships toward the enemy. They moved quickly through asteroid belts and debris fields. Using cover to avoid energy fire, Rachel adjusted the shields and thrusters, carefully guiding the ships past obstacles, every movement precise and controlled. She glanced at Luke, who was coordinating targeting. He sent data back to the command station, showing weak points in the enemy ships. Humans were learning quickly and using every advantage they could find. The enemy fleet responded by tightening formations, concentrating fire on the human attack ships. They believed their numbers and weapons could overwhelm humans quickly, but they had underestimated human adaptability and courage. Humans studied every move and every strike, adjusting tactics with each encounter. Small teams attacked critical engines and weapon systems, disabling ships and forcing others to fall back. The first full clash had taught humans the value of coordinated strikes and rapid adaptation. Queen Claire issued orders to the main fleet: move forward and protect the colonies. Every railgun cruiser and fast attack ship followed her command. Shields activated, weapons primed. Every crew member knew the importance of timing and precision. They fired in coordinated bursts, aiming for engines and shields, striking weak points identified from previous encounters. Humans worked together as one unit, every action deliberate and every strike calculated. Rachel piloted her ship through heavy fire, protecting civilian transports. She guided them past the most dangerous zones, keeping civilians safe. While small attack teams fired at enemy positions, Luke adjusted targeting to maximize efficiency. His fingers flying over the console, every command precise. Humans had learned to turn the enemy strength against them, exploiting overconfidence and rigid formations. They focused on survival of civilians and effectiveness of their strikes. The battle spread across the outer colonies. Lights from railguns and energy weapons illuminated the dark of space. Every movement calculated, every strategy tested. Humans had no choice but to fight with intelligence, courage, and skill. The enemy fleet tried to push humans back, but human strategy and adaptability proved superior. Fast strike teams moved through asteroid belts, disabling critical enemy ships, creating confusion and openings for the main fleet to attack. Queen Claire monitored the flow of battle. She watched humans navigate through hazards, protect civilians, and strike efficiently. She saw courage and intelligence at work. The fleet moved as one. Humans knew the stakes. Every decision could change the outcome of the battle. She gave clear commands. Humans followed orders with precision, every strike and maneuver designed to exploit weaknesses and protect life. Every human crew member acted with focus and determination. On the ground in colonies, humans worked tirelessly to follow evacuation and defense plans. Engineers repaired power systems, medics prepared to care for injured civilians. Every person had a role. Families moved calmly, following instructions. They trusted their leaders and their training. Humans acted without fear because they knew they were part of a larger effort to protect humanity and preserve life across the stars. Luke and Rachel returned to the command station after a successful strike. They brought detailed reports of enemy movements, showing gaps and weaknesses discovered. During the engagement, Queen Claire and the Council studied the data, adjusting plans for the next encounter. Humans prepared to strike again, using knowledge gained from the battle, their confidence growing with each success. They had learned how to fight and how to survive against the fleet. The enemy fleet attempted a concentrated attack on the colonies, using heavy warships to break human defenses. They underestimated human strategy and coordination. Humans responded with precise railgun fire and plasma bursts, Disabling engines and weapons arrays, the fleet moved in coordinated waves, striking weak points. Every movement calculated. The enemy realized humans were more than they expected. They had courage, intelligence, and the ability to adapt. Rachel and Luke led a team to intercept a group of warships, attempting to flank human positions. The ships moved quickly, weaving through asteroid fields, avoiding fire, and striking at vulnerable engines. Every shot aimed with precision. They disabled multiple ships and forced others to retreat. Their actions bought critical time for the colonies and the main fleet. The success inspired humans across the Expanse, showing them that courage, skill, and teamwork could overcome even overwhelming odds. Queen Claire addressed the fleet, telling them to stay focused and continue striking. Intelligently, she reminded them humans were strong. Humans survived the harshest worlds. Humans had courage and skill. The fleet followed orders, moving as one, striking efficiently and protecting civilians. Every human crew member understood they were part of something greater, something that would be remembered across colonies for generations. As the battle raged, humans began to push the enemy fleet back. Exploiting every weakness found in previous encounters, strike teams targeted engines and weapons arrays, causing confusion and slowing the enemy advance. Civilians watched from safe zones, their faith in human skill growing with every engagement. Humans had learned to fight effectively and survive the most dangerous situations. They worked together using knowledge, courage, and precise action. Luke and Rachel returned with more information from scout ships. Observing enemy formations, humans analyzed every movement, energy discharge, and formation pattern. The council adjusted strategies, giving the fleet an advantage in future encounters. Humans prepared for the next phase of the battle, confident in their ability to strike smart and protect the colonies. Queen Claire inspired every crew member, reminding them of human courage and determination. The stars above the colonies shone quietly in the darkness. Humans moved with purpose through the void. Every pilot, engineer, and medic understanding the importance of every decision, every action. Humans were ready to fight, not just for survival, but to protect every world they had settled. They had learned that intelligence, skill, and courage together could overcome even the largest fleet. Humans were prepared, and they would continue to adapt and strike efficiently. Queen Claire looked over the command station, observing the fleet. In the colonies, she thought of the human men and women facing the enemy, every pilot, crew, and civilian working to protect life. She felt pride in their courage and skill. Humans would continue to adapt. Humans would continue to fight. Humans would survive and protect every world. Humans would not surrender. The first full battle had tested them and proven that human intelligence, courage, and teamwork could overcome even the most dangerous threats. The enemy fleet was in retreat, their warships damaged and engines failing. Humans pressed forward, every ship moving as one, coordinated strike teams targeting remaining vessels, disabling weapons and shields. Luke and Rachel led the fast attack squadron, weaving through debris and enemy fire, disabling critical engines, every strike precise and deliberate. The fleet moved steadily forward, pushing the enemy back across the Expanse. Queen Claire monitored the battle from the command station, her eyes focused on the screens showing the enemy fleet breaking apart. She felt pride in the human crews, every pilot and engineer, every medic and civilian contributing to the success. Humans had learned from every encounter. They adapted quickly and struck efficiently, their courage and skill evident in every maneuver. The fleet moved as one powerful unit, striking and protecting. Small human strike teams moved in to disable the remaining command ships. The enemy tried to regroup, but human tactics were too strong. Every formation disrupted, every strategy countered. Humans focused on protecting the colonies, disabling the enemy while avoiding unnecessary damage. Strike teams moved with intelligence, precision, and speed, every move coordinated and effective. Rachel guided her ship through heavy fire, protecting transports, carrying civilians away from the battle zones. Luke adjusted targeting systems, directing railgun fire and plasma bursts, disabling engines and weapons arrays. The enemy ships faltered under human attacks. They could not recover. Humans had learned to strike with efficiency, using every advantage. Every attack calculated and executed with courage and skill. The outer colonies watched the final battle unfold. Humans acted with determination and intelligence. Civilians felt hope and pride. Every engineer preparing systems, every medic standing ready, every family following plans. Humans worked together as one united front. Humans had learned from previous encounters. Every movement deliberate. Every decision important. The fleet protected life while defeating the enemy. Queen Claire issued orders to maintain pressure on the retreating fleet strike. Now disable the remaining vessels. Every human ship responded, following instructions. Every crew member focused on the task. Every action deliberate. Every strike effective. The human fleet moved in perfect coordination, disabling engines and weapons systems, forcing the enemy. Further back into uncharted space, Luke and Rachel led the squadron against a final group of enemy warships. They moved quickly, weaving through hazards, striking at weak points, disabling critical engines and weapons arrays. Every maneuver precise. Humans exploited gaps in enemy formations. The remaining ships were forced to retreat. The squadron continued to protect civilian transports, ensuring no lives were lost while the enemy faltered. Humans acted with courage, intelligence, and skill. Queen Claire addressed the fleet, reminding them to stay vigilant. Humans were strong. Humans had courage. Humans survived. Humans had intelligence and skill. Every strike and movement mattered. Every crew member understood the importance of their actions. Humans pressed forward, maintaining pressure and striking efficiently. Every action contributing to the protection of colonies and the weakening of the enemy fleet. The enemy fleet could not recover. Small strike teams disabled engines and weapons arrays, forcing remaining ships into retreat. The human fleet moved as one coordinated unit. Every ship protecting civilians, every strike calculated to weaken the enemy. Every maneuver precise. Humans exploited every opportunity using intelligence, courage, and teamwork. They had learned from every previous encounter. Rachel guided the last group of transports through asteroid fields, protecting civilians from debris and enemy fire. Luke directed targeting systems, disabling remaining engines and weapons arrays. The enemy fleet faltered, their morale broken. Humans had proven they could fight with skill, intelligence, and courage. Every strike deliberate, every maneuver calculated. The fleet pressed forward, pushing the enemy beyond the colonies, beyond charted space. The outer colonies watched as the enemy retreated. Humans had won the battle. Humans had protected civilians and vital resources. Humans had used courage, intelligence, and teamwork to overcome the massive fleet. Every pilot, engineer, medic, and civilian had played a role in the victory. The galaxy would remember the determination, skill, and courage of humanity. The outer colonies were safe, thanks to the leadership of Queen Claire and the bravery of Luke, Rachel, and every human involved. Queen Claire broadcast a message across the colonies, announcing the victory. She spoke of human strength, courage, and intelligence. She reminded humans that they survived harsh worlds, survived battles, and survived Deathworlds. Humans could not be dismissed. Humans could defend themselves and protect their homes. Every word inspiring humans to trust in their abilities and the courage of their leaders. Luke and Rachel returned to the command station with reports of the final engagements, showing the locations and conditions of remaining enemy ships. Every detail recorded. Humans analyzed every movement, every strike, every formation. Humans prepared for the possibility of future threats they had proven they could face. Overwhelming odds and survived. Their courage and intelligence would be remembered across generations. On the colonies, engineers repaired damage, medics treated the injured, families returned to homes with hope. Humans worked efficiently following plans. Humans acted with courage and intelligence. They had learned to survive and protect life. Every person understanding the importance of their actions. The colonies were safe, and humans had proven their strength across the expanse. The galaxy would learn that humanity could not be defeated. Queen Claire observed the human fleet and colonies. She thought of every human facing the enemy, every pilot, crew, and civilian contributing to victory. She felt pride in their courage and skill. Humans would continue to adapt. Humans would continue to fight. Humans would survive. Humans would protect every world. Humans would not surrender. The galaxy had seen the strength of humanity and the determination of Queen Claire and her fleet. The stars above the colonies glowed quietly as humans moved through space, every ship vigilant, every crew member aware of their role. Humans had learned to strike with intelligence and protect with courage, every action deliberate, every decision important. The enemy fleet had been defeated. Humans had proven they could survive and protect every colony. The victory marked a new era. Humans had shown the galaxy what they were capable of. Luke and Rachel looked out at the stars from the bridge of their ship. Humans had survived the largest threat they had faced. Humans had used courage, intelligence, and skill to protect every colony. They had learned to work as one unit, every strike deliberate. Every maneuver calculated. The galaxy would remember the courage and determination of humanity and the leadership of Queen Claire. Queen Claire stood on the observation deck of the command station. She watched the fleet and the colonies. She thought of every human who had faced the enemy and survived. She felt pride in their skill and courage. Humans would continue to defend their homes. Humans would continue to fight. Humans would survive and protect every world. Humans would not surrender. Humanity had proven itself across the stars, and the galaxy would remember their courage and intelligence. The human fleet moved forward with determination. Every ship following the commands of Queen Claire, the outer colonies watched with hope and courage. Humans had learned much from the previous encounters. They knew the fleet could be defeated with careful strategy and precise strikes. Luke and Rachel prepared their squadron for a critical mission to disrupt the enemy command ships, their hearts steady and minds focused. Rachel piloted the fast attack ship through asteroid fields, using every shadow and rock for cover. Luke coordinated targeting and sensors. The enemy fleet spread across the Expanse, forming a defensive formation. They believed their size and firepower would protect the command ships. But humans had learned to act with speed, intelligence, and coordination. Every move they made was calculated to exploit weaknesses and create openings. Queen Claire issued orders from the command station: strike. Now disrupt the command centers and protect the colonies. Every human ship followed her instructions. Humans knew the importance of timing and precision. They moved as one. A single mistake could endanger entire colonies. They relied on training, courage, and teamwork. As they approached the first group of enemy warships, the tension in the air was thick. But humans did not falter. Luke and Rachel guided their squadron to strike the first command ship. Small teams moved in from multiple directions, firing railguns and plasma bursts at critical points. Engines and weapons arrays targeted, disabling the ship slowly. The enemy human men tried to adjust formations, but humans had anticipated their movements and adapted rapidly. The squadron pressed the attack, exploiting every weakness discovered in previous battles, their courage and skill evident in every maneuver. The command station monitored every strike. Humans watched the reports carefully, plotting the next moves. Claire issued new orders: move fast, strike teams forward, and protect civilians. Every ship responded efficiently. Their actions coordinated and deliberate. Strike teams used asteroid belts for cover and launched attacks that disabled multiple warships, forcing the enemy to retreat into defensive positions. The colonies cheered, seeing humans act with intelligence, courage, and determination. Rachel steered through heavy fire, protecting civilian transports. She fired at weak points in enemy ships, disabling engines and weapon systems. Luke calculated every strike, directing the squadron to maximize damage and minimize risk. The enemy fleet tried to regroup, but humans were ready. Strike teams moved with precision, disabling key ships, creating openings for the main fleet to attack. Humans acted as one. Every action deliberate, every strike calculated. The first command ship fell. The enemy fleet was thrown into confusion. Their formations broke under human attacks. Humans exploited the gaps, using railguns and plasma bursts with precise timing. Every ship coordinated through command signals. The battle spread across the outer colonies. Lights from weapons illuminated space. Humans used intelligence and skill to turn enemy strength against them. The fleet moved as one. Human crews knew every strike could change the outcome. Queen Claire observed the battle. She watched humans protect civilians, strike efficiently, and act with courage and intelligence. She knew humans were capable of turning the tide with teamwork and careful planning. She issued new orders, maintained pressure, and continued disrupting enemy command. Humans followed instructions with precision. Their movements coordinated and deliberate. Every attack calculated to weaken the fleet and protect colonies. On the colonies, engineers repaired damaged systems, medics prepared for casualties, families moved calmly following evacuation plans. Humans had learned to act efficiently under pressure. They trusted their leaders and their training. They moved with focus and determination, every person contributing to the survival of colonies and the success of human strategy. They acted without fear because they believed in human strength and courage. Luke and Rachel returned with reports from the strike teams showing enemy weaknesses and gaps in formation. Humans analyzed every movement, every weapon discharge, and every formation change. The council adjusted strategies. Giving humans an advantage in future attacks, humans were confident they could continue to strike. Smartly protect colonies and exploit weaknesses in the enemy fleet. Queen Claire reminded every crew member, humans are strong humans. Survive humans fight with intelligence, courage, and skill. The enemy fleet attempted to launch a counterattack. They concentrated fire on human railgun cruisers, thinking size and power could crush human ships. Humans responded with precision fire, disabling engines and weapons arrays. The enemy ships were forced to retreat. Humans had learned to adapt quickly. Small strike teams moved through asteroid belts, disabling critical ships. Creating confusion and slowing the enemy advance, civilians watched from safe zones. Their faith in human courage and skill growing with every engagement. Rachel led a strike team against a group of heavily armed ships. She moved through asteroids, targeting engines and weapons with precise railgun fire. Luke coordinated attacks, guiding every strike. Every movement calculated. Humans disabled several ships, forcing others to retreat. They had bought critical time for colonies and main fleet. Their success inspired humans across the Expanse, showing them courage and teamwork could overcome overwhelming odds. Queen Claire addressed the fleet, reminding humans to stay focused, strike intelligently, and protect civilians. She emphasized human strength, intelligence, and courage. Humans followed orders, moving as one, striking efficiently and protecting life. Every human crew member understood the importance of every action, every decision they made. The combined effort of pilots, engineers, medics, and civilians proved that humans were capable of defeating the fleet. As the battle continued, humans pushed the enemy fleet back, exploiting weaknesses found in previous encounters. Strike teams targeted engines, weapons, and shields, causing confusion, slowing the enemy advance. Humans learned to fight effectively, surviving the most dangerous situations. They acted together, using courage, skill, and precise action. Luke and Rachel returned with more intelligence, allowing humans to adjust strategies, gaining the advantage in the conflict. The stars above the colonies shone as quietly as humans moved through the void. Every pilot, engineer, and medic understanding the importance of every decision, every action. Humans were ready to fight, not just for survival, but to protect every world they had settled. They had learned intelligence, skill, and courage together could overcome even the largest fleet. Humans prepared to continue their attacks and secure the colonies from the enemy threat. Queen Claire observed the fleet and colonies. She thought of every human facing the enemy, every pilot, crew, and civilian working to protect life. She felt pride in their courage and skill. Humans would continue to adapt. Humans would continue to fight. Humans would survive. Humans would protect every world. Humans would not surrender. The turning point had arrived. The fleet
was
weakening. Humans were ready to press the attack and show the galaxy the strength of humanity.